Hello there everyone. In this video I'm going to be talking to you about the Nyiragongo eruption which happened in 2002 in the DRC. As we are aware, at this point in time, the DRC was still the site of the Second Congolese War which ended in 2003. Life in Eastern DRC had been severely affected by the war and communities remained unsupported. In 2002, the population of the city of Goma had reached 460,000. The population had increased because of the migration of people from Rwanda into the DRC after the end of the Rwandan genocide in 1994. Here they had started a new life and the population had flourished. Those living in Goma and the surrounding villages were particularly vulnerable as they farmed the fertile soils for a source of income. They lived in such a close proximity to the volcano that they were putting their lives at risk. They were happy to do this, however, as it was the only option to generate money. People grew yams, plantain, rice and maize. The people living in Goma and the neighbouring villages were also vulnerable because the communities were isolated. The roads in and around Goma were not paved and so could only be reached by motorbike or chakudo. Goma is the only place in the world where you will find such a form of transport. It is hand-carved using a machete out of hardwood sourced locally. Since many of the communities were isolated, it was difficult to evacuate during the eruption. Those living around Lake Kivu in the city of Goma are also vulnerable because of a hazard which cannot be seen. On the lake bed is a thick layer of carbon dioxide and methane. During an eruption, there can be seismic events and landslides. If this layer of carbon dioxide and methane is disrupted and is released into the air, it can asphyxiate anyone living around the lake. Since carbon dioxide, for example, is heavier, it's denser than air, it forms a thick blanket on the ground surface. In fact, in 1986, a similar situation occurred where Lake Nyos, which is located in the Cameroon, released carbon dioxide at night. This carbon dioxide released from the lake moved downhill as it is denser than air into the surrounding valleys where people lived. Carbon dioxide hugged the ground in the low-lying areas and killing the villagers while they slept. When Nyiragongo erupted in 2002, fortunately the layer of carbon dioxide and methane was not disturbed. However, this could happen in the future if Nyiragongo was to erupt again. Since the eruption in 2002, the carbon dioxide in the bottom of the lake has been harnessed to generate power, providing an additional source of income to the area. Those living around the volcano are also vulnerable to the threat of acid rain. The lava lake within the crater of Nyiragongo releases a constant plume of toxic gases such as sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. These lead to the formation of acid rain. Since the locals use the rainwater to drink and to wash, it is a particular problem for those living in the area. Before the eruption, the volcano was not being monitored. This area of the DRC has been deemed unsafe for many years. Many rebel groups still reside in the Virunga National Park, highlighted here in yellow. In the south of this area, or to the south of the Virunga National Park, is Nyiragongo volcano, highlighted here by the volcano sector. And as you can see, Goma is just to the south of that volcano. Scientists had even been held at gunpoint in the past and told to hand over any equipment and goods they have on their person. Due to the nature of the situation in the DRC, those people living in Goma and the surrounding villages were not warned of the eruption. In fact, radio broadcasts advised people to stay at home. They were told that there was no concern and therefore evacuation was not needed. Authorities then issued a red alert for Goma and the surrounding area, urging people to evacuate. They only had 5 minutes to do so. So, the eruption. The eruption took place on the flanks of the volcano. A 13-kilometre long fissure formed on the southern slope, on the southern flank. This fissure released basaltic lava which flowed towards the city of Goma. The lava stream was between 200 meters and 1,000 meters wide, and it was 2 meters deep. The lava flowed through the city, destroying everything. On its way to the city, it also flowed through agricultural land, destroying many crops which had not yet been harvested. Nyiragongo is much like the volcanoes in Hawaii, such as Kilauea. The basaltic lava released is very fluid, is quite fast-moving, and it is released from a fissure, not from the crater. Since lava was being released from the fissure, the level of the lava lake within the crater dropped. As a result of this eruption, a third of Goma was destroyed. All services and water and power supplies were destroyed. 3 health centres were lost, including a hospital. The lava covered the northern third of the Goma airport runway, making it difficult for goods to be imported from other countries, such as medical supplies from charities. The death toll rose to 147 people. The sulfurous lava entered Lake Kivu and poisoned the water, which at this time was also being used as drinking water, and 20% of homes destroyed. The eruption destroyed everything, and people lost their ways of life and their possessions as a result of the lava flow. The lava flow was not the only problem. Locals experienced eye irritation and respiratory problems from the harmful gases released from the crater. People were forced to drink contaminated water, and so many experienced dysentery, causing further health implications. Homes were abandoned, and therefore people's properties were looted, and businesses were abandoned. There was a loss of income for agricultural workers, as free food packages were given by the UN. So since food packages were provided for those who needed it, anyone who had agricultural products to sell lost money. Unemployment increased in Goma as businesses were destroyed by lava flows. In response to this, the United Nations provided humanitarian aid by ferry across Lake Kivu. They set up camps to house the displaced people. They provided household essentials, food and medicine. Aid agencies were happy to provide this short-term aid, for example, shelter and food. But due to the political instability of the DRC, many HICs and aid agencies were reluctant to provide long-term support. After the eruption, 300,000 people fled to Rwanda for safety. Since their lives had been ruined in Goma as a result of the lava flow, they wanted to start afresh somewhere else. In the long term, life in Goma has been restored and in fact improved. Since the eruption, houses have been rebuilt as seen in the photograph, and monitoring has increased. The Goma Volcano Observatory monitors the change in gas emissions, the level of the lava lake, and the width and the temperature of fractures, so they can identify if another eruption is going to take place. The Goma Volcano Observatory, or GVO, has established stronger links with local communities so that they can educate the locals about the threats and risks associated with living on the sides of Nyiragongo. Scientists have taken goats into local communities, particularly villages, and use them as part of a demonstration to show the locals of the dangers of carbon dioxide. The scientists walk a goat into a depression in the ground where carbon dioxide is being released. Of course, you can't see carbon dioxide, it's a colourless gas. Within minutes, the goats become asphyxiated and collapse. Villagers soon realise that if they allow their children to play in such areas, they are in danger. And therefore, they are aware of the hazards in the local area. The GVO has received funding to improve the monitoring, and scientists have been encouraged to go there to investigate and monitor the volcano. Most scientists are accompanied by an armed ranger when they are on their expedition. In addition to these points on this slide, in Goma, they practice volcanic eruption drills so they can test the response of the police and the charity groups. This did not take place before the event of 2002. In 2002, the local community were unaware of the risks they were taking by living on the slopes of the volcano. Today, the volcano is being monitored on a daily basis. The data is collected, and the necessary steps have been put in place to provide the local people with enough time to evacuate if the volcano was going to erupt again.